So what's different about a care or support worker to any other role we might be recruiting for? What I found interesting when I first started looking at care recruitment is that actually almost everything we're looking for in a candidate is not on a CV. They're what I call off-CV traits. For example, empathy, compassion, reliability, and their personal values. You don't see any of that on a CV. So this makes recruiting already a challenge because really we can't tell from a traditional way of a candidate applying with a CV or with an application form what they're really going to be like. I found motivation is the key thing we're looking for. Is this person absolutely motivated to work with older people, people with a disability, or is their motivation desperation for any kind of paid work? We need people with a calling, not people desperate for any job that happens to be local. And of course, care jobs are really, because we provide training, open to anyone. So you're opening yourself up to large swathes of the community and job applicants who can apply very simply for your job without any real desire or need or understanding of what care work involves. So this means for the recruiter wastage, effort, dealing with a lot of tire kickers, incredible cost. Many people, applicants will get all the way through the system. They'll take a job with you and they'll be trained. And after you've spent all that money, then they decide it's not for them. And of course, unlike many other roles, we have a responsibility to vulnerable people in society, residents, clients, people being supported. So there's a big downside risk for a recruiter in making a mistake. To make matters worse, an interview is a very poor method of spotting naturally caring people. If you think about your own workforce, or even yourself, the experience you have and the calling you have for care may mean that you were caring for a loved one, that you're returning to work after looking after children, that maybe you're new to the workforce, you haven't got any experience at all. And all of those things make the interview in the workplace a very stressful place. And so interviewers can mistake nerves, not looking at the interviewer, going red, feeling embarrassed, not having the right answer off pat as a negative, when in fact potentially they're a sign that somebody is the right kind of person. I found consistently that great care staff undervalue themselves. They have low self-confidence and low self-esteem. And that can come through when you're attempting to assess whether they should join your organisation or not. Another aspect that's very important, very prevalent in care recruitment, is that it's really very local work. You are recruiting people that typically will travel 6 miles or less to your care setting. Now, apart from, say, live-in care, where you're recruiting people potentially very successfully from overseas, in the majority of cases, people are going to already be in your local area. And that means that we are looking for people that are able to make that journey on a regular basis for relatively low wages. Another aspect of care recruitment, or rather the care sector and the care role, is that it involves unsociable hours. We're expecting people to work Saturdays, Sundays, night shifts, unsociable times. And it also takes an emotional and physical toll on those people in the frontline role. So we need to find people that are resilient to that, but also sensitive to others, and have the ability to deal with some of the challenges and the stresses and the upset that you get with dealing with people who are very vulnerable and in a bad way in many cases. Again, if that's not enough, then we have employment barriers. For example, in most countries there will be some kind of police check. And that of course means it takes time, it's out of your control, and during that period the applicant or the new starter you had hoped to bring on board is waiting, often and usually without earning any money, while these police checks and while these references are taken. And referencing, of course, incredibly frustrating to get references from previous employers these days. And so all of this process leads people to drift away and leak out of your funnel, your recruitment funnel, before you're able to bring them on for training. The image of care work in most countries, of paid care work, is poor. Quite unfair that it is that way, but it is. It's very poor public perception, which I think we really need to do much more to change. But at the moment we have to accept in many cases you're fighting against that image of, oh, you're just a care worker, and perhaps parents seeing that not as a valid career for their children. And you've got this, slow speed to hire. So we've got all sorts of issues. So what we need to do is recruit differently and address each of these issues. And what I'm going to do is cover that in the course with you.